Greetings, Eaters and Heretics, and welcome to another In the Abyss album review. It's almost like we do this for a living. Be nice, wouldn't it?
Where's the money? We do, if we're doing it for a living, we need to be getting paid.
Yeah, I
Got
don't
to
think that's
get
going to happen
paid,
in this
as ZZ
country.
Top once told us.
How are we doing today? We feeling feeling all right at the moment?
Oh, do you know what? I'm still wrestling with like I've got there's the man flu is kind of like just it's swimming along all around me, which is just making everything a bit you know
Yeah,
a bit more arduous than I want it to be. But apart from that, I'm okay.
you're
I'm
fucking dandy.
always optimistic. So.
Well, okay. So, what are we talking about today?
Today, we've got the 10th album from Vomitory.
Yeah.
Exactly that. I had to think, whenever I think of the term, I read Vomitory, I think, what is that? I imagine like this kind of Victorian parlor where the men go like after a meal,
The
you
vomit.
know. Exactly. You can imagine there's these brass rods in there that are specifically made to, I don't know, be used
Oh
on the
my God.
esophagus.
All right, let's do it.
You know,
Let's park that. Let's concentrate on the album.
come on, man,
Uh,
it's a death metal album. You can't be
Yeah,
squeamish.
fuck it is, isn't it? In Death Throes is this? This is album number 10
Yes, yes, it
from
is.
Vomitory. I mean, they've had a gap in their careers. They split up in what 2013, whatever it was. Well, it's not split up, but kind of went on hiatus.
Yeah, yeah.
I think reformed in about 2019, and then All Heads Are Gonna Roll. The last album was kind of like the
Mm.
comeback, which was an absolute fucking stonker of a record. That one, it was,
Really, really enjoyed
yeah,
that.
yeah, just
I
full,
think that
full
was
of
on.
fucking riffs.
Yeah, yeah,
And
basically.
yeah, and I think this, initial feelings towards this is it kind of it carries on. I mean,
Mm.
Vomit are one of those bands. They're one of my favorite of the old school death metal bands.
Right, right.
I only really got into them after that initial split. I started listening to some of it. I don't know how it kind of came up. Blood Rapture was the album, and that's comfortably my favorite Vomitory album. Fucking absolutely superb. It's an all-time top 10 death metal record. It's just fucking superb. And their whole back catalogue kind of sits in that, the early stuff, yeah, it's obviously a bit more rough around the edges, but as
Right.
time's gone, and this last album and now this one, it's just a
Yeah.
fucking rollicking great death metal band for
Well, I
me.
think Rollicking is a really good summary of things, really. I mean, for me, like All Heads Are Gonna Roll was my stepping on point. They weren't a band I was listening to before that. Um, Also one of the first records I bought in Black City Records. So
Well,
shout
there
out
you
to
go.
them for sorting me out with my vomitory needs. Um, but is it fair to say that like this is more of the same, but in this
Yeah,
context, kind of
definitely.
like that's exactly what you want?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they're very much on the thrashier end of death metal, aren't they? Vomitory.
Yes. Yeah.
This isn't sort of, obituary style, slow, all of that. This is fucking pedal to the metal, balls to the wall, just fucking go
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but they are so full of riffs and hook and just that little bit of rock and roll, like what Entombed used to have, that breaks it all up and just makes them a lot more accessible than they probably should be with a name like Vomitory.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, actually. I mean, this definitely has, a band, obviously being a band from Sweden, it has that kind of that little bit of melodic flair and a little bit of
Mm.
chutzpah, I think, about it, which which you kind of find I don't know what's in the water out there, but they just sound, from the off. Put this record on straight away. It sounds energized. It
Yep.
sounds confident. I love the sound of it. I think, I like talking about production, but I think this is a great example of a record that sounds contemporary,
Yep.
but it still sounds live. You still get the energy of the performers in there. And I think that's something that a lot of modern death metal bands could really take a leaf out of their book in the sense of just retaining that sense of, like you said, there's a rock and roll energy in there
Yeah, there really
that
is.
really gives this some energy, really kind of gives it some momentum.
It's like the Rollins band approach, isn't it? Henry Rollins always wanted that they always tried to record live together as a band,
Mm.
didn't they, in a studio? And you get that same kind of feeling with this. I mean, the first track, Rapture in Rupture, just come
Oh,
like, it's not even 3 minutes long and it just gets you right by the throat and
yeah,
you're done. It's a classic Vomitory track and it's a great way to
yeah,
open the
yeah,
album.
yeah.
The first single
Mm.
from this one is the second track in For Gore and Country, which has
Wow.
just got a fucking just a gargantuan riff in it. It's
It's
like,
just that gallop, isn't it? It's
yeah,
like, nothing says metal more than a gallop, and we
and
get that.
it's not groundbreaking, is it? You know,
No,
it's
no,
the
no,
type of
not at
riff you've
all.
heard a million times before, but it just does that.
That's it. I mean, I think that's probably a key point. That, this is not a record that's breaking new ground.
Nope.
It knows what it is. It stays in its lane. In the sense that these guys just sound like they eat heavy metal for breakfast. It's kind of and they're confident with it. They know how to do it, and that's what we get. We just get. In fact, that track, I'd say, for Gore and Country. Starts off a trilogy. You got Forever Scorned there, and you got Wrath Unbound, and those three tracks to me are like it's such a powerful little collection of songs
Yeah,
there. I mean that
yeah.
that if you were going to pick three songs off the album, take those three, and you're going to have a good time. But obviously, we get more of it across as the album plays out.
Yeah, we do, and there's one thing about I've always noticed about Vomitory is there's the little Slayerish touches, the little
Oh man,
Slayery lead parts in there that it sounds like it could be Hanneman and King trading off sort of thing.
yeah,
That's all.
yeah.
There's
I mean,
very much the thrashy element of death metal, and they just do it. They get it. They just get everything right. Everything's like in the right place without being predictable,
yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it?
And just like you said, I mean, you mentioned Rapture and Rupture. As soon as that song kicks in, I thought it was Slayer.
Yeah.
But they do it in such a way where you never think, oh, this is just a rip-off, oh, they're just doing it. It's like they take elements of, all your favorite bands, and they kind of incorporate it into the music in a way that, it's not, they make it their own. They're not ripping bands off,
It's their own sound. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. Definitely.
yeah.
Like I said earlier on, this does follow on from All Heads Are Gonna Roll. It is very much the same kind of album, similar sort of
Mm,
production.
mm.
They've worked with the same producer on a few albums. Rickard Logren is his name.
Right.
Also produced most Enforcer albums. So that's pure, slick sort of not power
Yeah.
metal, but you know what I mean? It's that kind of
Well, it's
stuff. So
powerful metal, let's say that much.
yeah, again, there is still a punch to it, so maybe that's got something to do with it. But big
Mm.
thick guitar sounds, the drums hit really hard, everything about it just makes you want to fucking bang your fucking head.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things I love about it is the tempos of the tracks, right? That when they're really going at it fast, they manage to just take it to the edge. You just feel like if that was any faster, it would start to fall apart.
Yeah,
So they just hold it in this really exciting place where it just feel they're totally on top of it. They're totally in
yeah,
control, and it just feels like it. But it sounds risky. It sounds like it could just tip over, and I think that makes it really exciting, energized album.
yeah. It's like
Um,
walking on the edge of a cliff and it kind of thing. I suppose it's exciting, the wind's blowing, all that kind of shit. And oh fuck me, there you go. It's like what was that Italian speed metal band Hell Crash? Do you remember we talked about
right.
that a
Oh
couple of
yeah,
years ago? Was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you said it sounded like the drummer was falling down the stairs?
Yeah,
You know,
and that's a complete compliment.
it's that fine line, isn't it, between going balls out and
Yeah.
just sort of
I
fucking
mean,
out. But
that's probably the next stage. But yeah, I really like that. And as the album plays out, one thing that I would also credit Vomitory for is just their use of dynamics. They know
mm,
exactly when to bring in, like a halftime section, or a
yep,
breakdown or something. It's not labored, but it's just enough to create contrast between that, when they dig in and you're just like stank facing it, and then that sets you up to be just whisked away
yeah,
and taken off in the next fucking tornado that they bring.
it
And
just it
it's
just
and it's
all
just that all the way through.
and it all proves how accessible and fun death metal can be.
Oh yeah,
This is like pure fucking circle pit death metal, isn't it? It's
yeah,
running around like a fucking idiot, going in like a twat, beer in the air, and just having a fucking great time while they sing
yeah,
about cutting
yeah.
people in half. It's
It's funny, like I was thinking about this week because I saw Carcass down at Brixton Academy, and they were the first death metal band I ever heard that were accessible to me.
yeah,
Um, and it was Heartwork was the album, which I'm sure a lot of people will agree is like when they kind of tipped over into a more melodic sound.
mm,
And just interestingly, talking about this album, I was reminded of Heartwork. I think it's Wrath Unbound is the track that just has that kind of Mike Amott style melodic
Yeah.
flair to it that just harks back to, that era of Carcass, and then kind of just around that time, at the gates, coming out the gates, at the gates, coming out the gates. Um, and just bringing that slightly more accessible melodic
Yeah.
edge to what was quite a intimidating music to get into,
Oh
really.
God, yeah. I mean, you think about it back then. I mean, I wasn't into death metal, when Heartwork came out. That's, I kind of got into it later on than that. But if you think about when death metal first came along in the late 80s and going into the early 90s, how you can see why Bible Belt America wanted it banned and all that. It's
Right.
just like nothing anybody's ever heard before.
Yeah.
Now, for these bands to, I suppose, still stay fresh and exciting and still deliver the goods, it's a testament, really. All
Mm,
those that are up there. I keep mentioning Obituary, but they're, probably they are the guiding light in that sense.
oh yeah,
And
man.
and this band just do that for me. They, it's very much the same format that goes through their whole career, but every album is just fucking great, enjoyable death metal. Not reinventing a wheel, just
No.
fucking nailing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I think a lot of people are going to find favor with this album.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's objectively, it's just a well-made piece of work,
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. It
um,
really is. The closing track as well. You talk about the melody element. Oblivion Protocol is the track. Around about 2 minutes 45, there is this really nice melodic
mm,
harmony guitar through the middle. You don't see it coming, but it just, I don't know, they just seem to have that. They're mixing it up a bit, I suppose, but it all works.
yeah.
They're not fucking with it. It all just sits just right. I can't fucking wait to see them at Incineration in a few weeks' time.
Of course. Yeah, man. This is going oh yeah. There's going to be cues, man. That's going to be one that I think
Yeah, but
everyone,
yeah, we want to get ahead of.
off the back of this release, that's my top tip is get in early for Vomitory at
No, everyone else
Incineration.
can wait. We'll get in early. You don't need to be in early. It'll be
we'll,
fine.
we'll we'll tell you what it was like.
I actually bought a ticket for Incineration in 2020 just to see Vomitory, but obviously, whole world went to shit and it got cancelled, and this is their first return, so it's come just right, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking can't wait, can't wait. Absolutely superb album.
It's a winner, man. It's a
Yeah,
winner, and
yeah,
that's uh that's two big ticks in my book. All heads are going to roll was on my end of year list. This one's kind of up there. It's
all
it's
heads are
got
gonna bang,
potential.
mate.
Oh, there you go. Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like I said,
So
fantastic album. Get involved with it. It's out on April the 10th. Metal Blade, all the usual vinyl CD and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
yeah, I thoroughly recommend it if you want a good
likewise.
time. So there you go. That's it. Anything else left to say?
Cool. Not from me. No, let's leave it there.
Goodbye from him. It's goodbye from me. Stay heavy. Cheers.